Pilots are taught to avoid flying into storms, but there is an elite group of aviators who are allowed to break that rule, all in the name of science. The Air Force and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, provide the aircraft and crews for these missions. Two types of aircraft fly directly into tropical cyclones to get the data that is crucial in forecasting.
The main mission of the Air Force planes is reconnaissance. Where is the storm? Where is it going? How strong is it? The main mission of the P-3 is more science related. What makes these storms tick? Investigating them to improve computer models, to develop new forecasting techniques, to test out new instruments. The missions overlap a bit in that while the P-3's out there doing their science missions, they're figuring out where the storm is. We get that to the forecasters. And all the information the WC gathers is available to researchers down the road.
The Air Force has 10 C-130s that fly missions during the hurricane season. Their job? To use GPS dropsondes that collect temperature, pressure, and humidity data, as well as determine wind speed and wind direction in and around the storm. The data is sent directly to the National Hurricane Center.
I think that really our primary duty is getting the pressure at the center of low pressure of that storm. That's where the hunting comes into play. The hunting part of being a hurricane hunter is really pinpointing that center. It's not the geographic center of the eye wall. That'd be super easy. Anybody could do that. But no, we're actually having for that last maybe 20 miles, we're doing a lot of turning left, right, trying to really pinpoint that center of low pressure.
NOAA has two P-3 aircraft that also conduct low-altitude data collection.
So the P-3 is uniquely configured to conduct hurricane research and reconnaissance. So we have a series of radars both on the tail, the nose, and the belly, which allow us a 360-degree vertically and horizontally view of the storm as we're flying through it. That, in conjunction with our dropsondes and our bathymetric buoys that we drop into the storm, allows us to get a good picture of what the storm is doing and help us predict what the storm is going to do in the future.
Not only do the P-3 aircraft fly into hurricanes, they're also used in other atmospheric research, including air quality studies, as well as learning more about the formation of tornadoes.
In addition to the hurricane research, we do oftentimes conduct tornado research with squall lines going through the southeast U.S. And next week we're actually leaving to conduct a mesoscale thunderstorm tornado research out of Kansas in the Midwest.
They have missions throughout the year, so they're traveling far afield, worldwide, to conduct these atmospheric research missions during the winter, in addition to the work they do for the National Hurricane Center during the hurricane season.
Both the C-130 and the P-3 have propeller engines instead of the jet engines you see on commercial airplanes because they fly at lower altitudes, around 10,000 feet. And the propellers help prevent icing from all of the moisture in a cyclone. These aircraft also fly much slower than commercial airliners, so they can collect valuable data. In contrast, a third aircraft, the G-4 flown by NOAA, flies high-altitude missions, around 45,000 feet, to gather upper air data surrounding a storm.
We have a G4 which we use for high altitude surveillance. So they fly kind of around the storm, dropping those dropsondes to measure the steering winds, kind of the synoptic flow around the hurricanes.
We also have the Gulf Stream of NOAA, which doesn't fly through the storm, but it flies around and ahead of the storm, dropping a lot of data instruments, dropsondes out to get more information about the steering currents that are affecting the storm, so that the forecasters have a better idea of where the storm is going, and all that data goes into the computer models to hopefully tighten them up so that the forecasters have more consistent information for plotting out the path of the storm ahead.
All three aircraft conduct missions throughout the tropical season. Teamwork is the key to this successful program.
To prepare for the missions, you have to rely on your crew. So we have a crew of typically 11 folks in the back of the plane, not including the pilots, that all work together, and they have years of experience. The NOAA Corps officers are the pilots and the navigators, and we kind of cycle through, but a lot of our flight directors and our technicians on the plane have been doing this job for sometimes 30, 40 years. And so they've gone through a variety of storms, and they can lend their experience to make those safe decisions to get through that storm.
We're our own schoolhouse, so there's many things that we have to do before we ever get out in the storm. Crew coordination is so essential in our mission. We have to know how to work together well in order to react instinctively to the various things that happen out in storms. So that's part of it.
All of this work has led to a 20% increase in the accuracy of hurricane predictions and warnings. The team members we spoke with are enthusiastic about their jobs. but they want to make sure that the public heeds all warnings once a storm poses a threat.
But the one thing I like to tell everyone in your audience, please don't make me do this or ask my crew to do this for nothing. We are, no kidding, doing something that no other airplane crew in the world is allowed to do, and we don't mind doing it. In fact, we're happy to do it for your audience, but we don't want to do it for nothing. So please listen when warnings come out, when they use our data to get a good prediction on that storm. Please give it some credibility and pay attention to what they're telling you.
For Weather World, I'm Marisa Ferger.